Now, I know there was a big concert that was supposed to happen in Chicago. It got canceled. NBA YoungBoy concert.
Do you feel like
got
that?
The slime green here.
That wasn't on purpose. But, so do you feel like that was something that was necessary that they should have done?
Nah, I feel like they should let him do it. I feel like he should have done the show, for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely. Like, I feel like, bro, I'm the type, I ain't no hater. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and what he doing is like, it's still like influential to, like, you know what I'm saying, the kids. And you know, like, me and YoungBoy, we don't got no beef. Like, I fuck with him. I want to see that win.
Yeah.
For sure. Like, and I still say on this interview, King Von is my brother. I love him to death. I don't care about that type of shit. Like, I'm all for like empowerment when it comes to like black men. And, you know what I'm saying? Like,
absolutely.
I've been knowing Von for 15 plus years. I love him to death. Like, that was my real brother. But I want to see every nigga win. I feel like he should have did it. Because my godson, my little brother who passed away, my little brother lost his life to the streets. My little brother's son, love YoungBoy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
at some point, I got to stop somewhere.
Exactly.
Anyway, right?
Has to.
What's good, YouTube? You already know who it is. Back with another video. And yo, today we got something absolutely crazy to talk about. Like, I'm not even exaggerating when I say this might be one of the wildest situations I've covered in a minute. Before we get into it though, make sure you hit that like button, drop a comment down below, and smash that subscribe button with notifications on so you never miss when I drop these videos. Seriously, y'all, that algorithm be tripping sometimes, so make sure you got them notifications turned on because I got a lot more content coming your way and you're not gonna want to miss any of it. So if you've been on social media lately, you've probably seen this trending everywhere. And bro, this situation is getting wild. Like Twitter going crazy, Instagram going crazy, TikTok going crazy. Everybody got an opinion on this. Now, for those who don't know what's going on, let me break it down real quick because there's actually a lot of layers to this whole thing. And I want to make sure y'all understand the full context before I give you my take on it. Basically, what happened was this situation popped off out of nowhere. And honestly, when I first saw this, I couldn't believe it. Like, I had to do a double take. I had to go back and watch it again because I was like, wait, this is actually happening right now? Like, this is real? And the more I looked into it, the crazier it got. Because it's not just a simple situation, there's actually a whole backstory to this that a lot of people don't even know about. And that's what I want to get into today, because I feel like a lot of people just seeing the surface level stuff and reacting to it without knowing the full picture. So let me take y'all back a little bit. This didn't just start yesterday or last week. This has actually been building up for a while now. If you really pay attention to what's been going on over the past few months, you could kind of see this coming. There were signs, there were little hints here and there, but I don't think anybody expected it to blow up like this. Like, we all knew something might happen eventually, but the way this actually went down, nobody saw that coming. And what makes this even crazier is who's involved in this situation. Because we're not talking about some random people that nobody knows about. We're talking about people that got serious influence, people that got serious followings, people that whatever they say or do, it's going to make waves. So when this situation popped off, of course, the internet went absolutely insane over it. Everybody had something to say, everybody had their opinions, and it just blew up from there. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Because after that happened, you had people coming out with their opinions, and everybody got something to say about it. Some people saying one thing, other people saying something completely different. It's divided everybody, and I mean everybody. Like, you got people on one side who completely support what happened, they're defending it to the fullest, saying there's nothing wrong with it. Then you got people on the other side who are completely against it, saying this is disrespectful, this is out of pocket, this crosses the line. And then you got people in the middle who are just confused, trying to figure out what's really going on. But let me tell you what I think is really going on here, because I've been doing my research on this. I've been going through everything, looking at all the posts, looking at all the comments, trying to understand both perspectives. And what I've come to realize is that this situation is way more complicated than people think it is. It's not just black and white. It's not just right or wrong. There's a lot of gray area here. And I think that's what's causing all this controversy. First of all, let's talk about the timing of all this. The timing is actually crazy when you think about it, because why now? Why did this have to happen right now? Some people are saying it's just coincidence, but I don't know, man. I feel like there might be more to it than that. Like, think about what else has been going on recently. Think about all the other stuff that's been happening in the background. It all kind of connects if you really pay attention to it. And another thing that people need to understand is the history between everybody involved. Because this isn't the first time there's been tension. This isn't the first time there's been drama. If you go back and look at everything that's happened over the years, you'll see that there's been a pattern. There's been incidents in the past that never really got resolved. They just kind of got swept under the rug. And now it feels like everything is just coming back to the surface all at once. I've been seeing a lot of people in the comments trying to defend one side or the other, and I get it. I understand why people feel passionate about this. But what I think people need to do is take a step back and really look at the bigger picture here. Because when you look at the bigger picture, you start to see that maybe both sides have a point. Maybe neither side is completely right or completely wrong. Maybe there's validity to both arguments. And that's what makes this so difficult to navigate. Let me break down the first perspective real quick. The people who are supporting this, their argument is basically that there's nothing wrong with what happened. They're saying that people are overreacting, that this is being blown way out of proportion, and that at the end of the day, it's not that deep. And you know what? I can see where they're coming from with that. In a vacuum, if you just look at what happened without any context, you might say, okay, that's not really a big deal. People do stuff like this all the time. Why is this situation any different? But then you got the other side, and their argument is completely different. They're saying that this is disrespectful, that this crosses a line, and that there are certain things you just don't do, especially given the history and the circumstances. And honestly, I can see where they're coming from too, because when you factor in all the context, when you factor in everything that's happened leading up to this, when you factor in the relationships and the dynamics between everybody involved, it does start to look a little different. It's not just a simple situation anymore, it becomes something more complex. And this is what I've been trying to tell people. You can't just look at this situation in isolation. You have to look at everything surrounding it. You have to look at the history. You have to look at the relationships. You have to look at what's been said in the past, what's been done in the past, because all of that context matters. All of that context plays a role in how we should interpret what happened. Now, I've also been seeing some people bring up other situations that are similar to this, trying to compare them and see if there's any consistency in how people react. And that's actually a really good point, because it does seem like sometimes people have different standards depending on who's involved. Like if person A does something, everybody's cool with it. But if person B does the exact same thing, now everybody's got a problem with it. And that double standard is something that I think needs to be addressed, because you can't have it both ways. You can't pick and choose when something is okay and when it's not okay based on who's doing it. But at the same time, I also understand that every situation is different. Every situation has its own unique circumstances and its own unique context. So while I do think it's worth comparing situations to see if there's any consistency, we also have to be careful not to oversimplify things and act like every situation is exactly the same, because they're not. One thing that really stood out to me while I was researching this is how quickly everything escalated. Like this went from 0 to 100 so fast. 1 minute everything seemed fine, the next minute the internet is on fire and everybody's arguing about it. And that's the thing about social media nowadays, everything moves so fast. Something can pop off in the morning and by the afternoon it's already blown up to the point where everybody in the world knows about it. There's no time to really process things. There's no time to really think things through, it's just instant reactions everywhere you look. And honestly, I think that's part of the problem. I think a lot of people are reacting based on emotion rather than logic. They see something, they get upset or they get defensive, and they immediately start commenting and sharing their opinion without really taking the time to understand what's going on. And then once they've already stated their opinion publicly, it becomes harder for them to change their mind even if they get new information, because now they've committed to a position and they don't want to look like they were wrong.
That's human nature though, right?
Nobody likes to admit when they're wrong. Nobody likes to say, hey, maybe I jumped to conclusions. Maybe I should have waited to get all the facts before I said something. We all do it. I'm guilty of it too sometimes. But I think in situations like this, it's important to try to be as objective as possible and really think critically about what's happening before we form our opinions. Another thing I want to talk about is the response from the people directly involved in this situation, because they've been addressing it too, and their responses have been interesting to say the least. Some of them have been very defensive, very adamant that they did nothing wrong. Others have been more apologetic, more willing to acknowledge that maybe they could have handled things differently. And then some of them haven't said anything at all, which is also telling in its own way. I think how people respond to controversy says a lot about their character. Do they own up to their mistakes? Do they try to deflect and blame other people? Do they double down and refuse to see any other perspective? Or do they try to have a genuine conversation and understand where the criticism is coming from? Those are all different approaches, and they all leave different impressions on people. What's also been interesting to watch is how this has affected relationships between different people and different groups, because situations like this have a way of exposing who really has your back and who doesn't. You see who's willing to stand by you when things get difficult, and you see who distances themselves when things get controversial. That's just reality. Not everybody is going to ride with you through everything, and sometimes you find out who your real friends are when stuff like this happens. And honestly, this is how I feel about the whole situation after looking at everything, after considering all the different perspectives, after doing my research and really trying to understand what's going on. I think that at the end of the day, we gotta look at both sides of this situation. You can't just pick one side without understanding where everybody is coming from. Like, I get why people feel this way, I really do. I understand the frustration, I understand the disappointment, I understand why some people feel like a line was crossed. But at the same time, I also understand the other perspective too. I understand why some people don't see it as a big deal, why they think people are overreacting, why they think this is being blown out of proportion. The truth is probably somewhere in the middle, like it usually is. The truth is probably that this situation is neither as bad as some people are making it out to be, nor as innocent as other people are trying to claim it is. It's somewhere in that gray area. And that's what makes it so controversial, because people don't like gray areas. People like things to be clear-cut. They like to know definitively who's right and who's wrong. But life isn't always that simple. What I hope comes out of this situation is that people can eventually have a real conversation about it. Not just people yelling at each other on social media, not just people trying to cancel each other or defend each other without really listening, but an actual conversation where people are willing to hear different perspectives and try to understand where other people are coming from. Because that's the only way we're ever going to move forward from situations like this. If we just keep fighting and arguing and refusing to see any other point of view, nothing's ever going to get resolved. At the end of the day, I think everybody involved in this situation probably wishes it never happened. I think they probably wish they could go back and do things differently. But we can't change the past. We can only learn from it and try to do better moving forward. And I hope that's what happens here. I hope people can learn from this, grow from this, and come out of it better than they were before. But yo, I want to hear from y'all. What do you think about this situation? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Do you agree with me or not? Let's talk about it. Are you on one side of this or the other, or are you somewhere in the middle like me? I'm really curious to hear what y'all think, because I know my audience is smart. Y'all always got good perspectives on these things. So let me know what's on your mind, and let's have a real discussion about this in the comments. Y'all already know who it is. Thank you for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and I'll catch you in the next video.